We have Sirak's arm in this just a second.
What up, though?
We
Hello?
are live. Tell us how you're doing.
Mhm.
How is your PCOS journey?
Yeah. What's up, everyone? What's up, life of Lola, to Priyanka, Chinax,
Hey,
Tabby,
Chinax,
Aish. How's it going, everyone?
Hey, Shawty.
Hey, Shawty. What's up, Shawty?
I have chia seed in my teeth.
So do I. I hate that breakfast you made. What's up, Gabrielle, Jayaya, Mamta, Naini? How's it going, everyone? So we're going to answer all your PCOS questions today. PCOS, I'm down with Katie, says, hey. Hi to you, Katie. So we're going to answer all your questions, so feel free to start asking them below. New Dimonson just said, I just found out last week I had PCOS. Well, we're here for you. You definitely, we have a lot of information on our page, on our podcast. So I would definitely suggest starting slow, getting affiliated with the content. But we definitely have a lot of information. Let me know if you have any questions you want us to start off with today.
Yeah.
Sangya says, just went to the doctor yesterday. They told me to go on birth control.
What's new?
Yeah, that's not new. Unfortunately, that's a common suggestion to a lot of women with PCOS. But of course, if you know about us, it's not our number one first recommendation because we like to first talk about diet, lifestyle, getting to the root cause. Birth control can mask that. So we're trying to spread more awareness about that.
If you've gone gluten and dairy free, tell us in the comments. Let us know how it goes.
Yeah. Babe7418 says, I'm down 5 pounds in 3 days. How did you do that, Babe7418? Love to hear about your progress.
Scoop. How to control androgen levels.
Ooh, good question.
Great question. A lot of times with PCOS, we have high androgen levels. That's actually one of the criteria for PCOS, hyperandrogenism. And so that's when you have cystic acne, hair loss, fatigue, facial hair, weight plateau, weight gain, things like that. So it's very common, but you can definitely control it through diet and lifestyle changes. And even sometimes supplements can really help. So when you have high androgens, you want to target insulin resistance, stress hormones, things like this. So making sure that you're not starving yourself, cutting calories, making sure that you're not over-exercising, and you're getting enough sleep, as well as prioritizing self-care. Yeah. That can get your stress hormones low and get you to start thinking about your diet changes.
All right, hold on. Transitioning now out of dairy and gluten, says Gabriella. Awesome. Star Penguin says, I'm down 35 pounds. Yay. Oh, great job. Congratulations on your success. All right. I was diagnosed with PCOS from the start, but now I get my periods every month, but still have PCOS. How? Well, you can still have PCOS even if you're having regular periods. With PCOS, if you're new, you need 2 out of 3 symptoms to be officially diagnosed. The first one is irregular periods. The second one is ovarian cysts. And the third one is hyperandrogenism, which is elevated male hormones. We were just talking about androgenism or reducing that earlier. But basically, if you have 2 out of those 3 criteria, then most likely you have PCOS. Of course, a doctor can confirm to make sure, but that's the basic criteria.
Went gluten and dairy free. My cycle was 28 days instead of 33.
Amazing. Babe, can you explain how that can happen and how that can help with the period regularity?
Great question. So when you cut out gluten and dairy, you're reducing inflammation, you're reducing your insulin resistance. And that's going to help with your ovarian function. So what happens is when you eat gluten.
And we'll talk about metformin right after this. I see a lot of questions about metformin coming up right now after this.
When you talk about gluten can trigger so much inflammation. When you eat it, it can cause this protein called zonulin to release into your stomach and cause the stomach lining to loosen up and the gluten particle to get through into your bloodstream, causing chronic inflammation. After a while, when you have lots of chronic inflammation and your cells are inflamed, they become insulin resistant and numb to the hormone insulin. And this also happens when it's constantly bombarded by insulin when you eat things that spike your insulin levels. So that can be carbs, sugar, and as well as dairy. Dairy can really spike insulin. So when you have a lot of insulin in your bloodstream, the cell becomes numb and locked up, and it doesn't respond to that insulin very well. And basically, it causes metabolic dysfunction. That insulin goes to your ovaries, triggers high testosterone. And then what happens is we get irregular periods, not able to ovulate, difficulty getting pregnant, things like this can happen. And that is how what you eat can affect how your reproductive system works. Yeah. And so when you get regular periods going gluten and dairy free, it's a sign that gluten and dairy was triggering inflammation and insulin resistance and things like this. And that's why we say try it for at least 30 days, see what happens, see if it helps you. It's worth a try.
Yeah, great explanation, babe. A fellow sister says, I've been gluten dairy free for 2 weeks and feel amazing. I do want to ask if this is more important than cutting out sugar, as I know gluten free stuff can be high in sugar, which can counteract. So yeah, when it comes to gluten dairy free, we tend to suggest to avoid anything that's processed. For example, you want to be going for things that are naturally gluten dairy free. For example, like meats, proteins, rice, potatoes, sweet potatoes, things of that nature, quinoa, that are all generally gluten dairy free naturally, and not focusing on the processed ingredients, which, like you said, sister, great point, they can have sugar as well as other processed ingredients. So you're gonna add something to that? I was gonna say metformin. Let's talk about that.
Sometimes when you go gluten and dairy free, you want to try the delicious gluten-free cookies or the dairy-free ice cream and all the fun things that are gluten and dairy-free, and that's fine. Yeah. You know, you're trying to transition, you're trying to get used to this new way of eating, and eventually you won't crave those things, and those things won't be part of your diet because you're helping with your hunger and fullness hormones. You're starting to manage your insulin resistance as you start focusing on reducing your carbs a little bit and like things like that. You won't crave the food that has a lot of sugar in it anymore. Yeah. And I personally feel like those gluten and dairy-free products that are substitutes, sometimes they're good, sometimes they're just a crutch to help you through the transition and shouldn't be part of your regular diet.
Yeah.
Hit it with the metformin now.
I like this from a Mr. Muhammad says, I'm going to be him supporting my girl. Well, yes, there's always room for more misters to support their sisters. So I love it.
Do we need like a Mister's chat forum on Facebook?
Maybe eventually.
A supportive Mr. chat forum.
Who knows? Maybe so. So let's talk about metformin for a second. I see a lot of questions about metformin, and then maybe we'll talk about vitamins after that. You know, the best kind of vitamins to take, things like that. So, and then we'll get to meal plans. So metformin. Let us know in the comments if this has been you, but a lot of sisters, when they go to the doctor, when they're first diagnosed with PCOS, one of the first things they're prescribed is either birth control or it's metformin. Why are they prescribing metformin? Because more than likely you have insulin resistance. 80% of women with PCOS have insulin resistance, and to fix this, doctors will prescribe metformin. And I say fix because it's not really a fix. It doesn't really get down to the root issue. Instead, it really masks the insulin resistance that's happening. And on top of that, it can cause many side effects, including nutrition deficiencies, bowel symptoms like diarrhea, irritable bowel syndrome, all these symptoms. So let us know what symptoms you felt in your metformin experience. But do we recommend metformin? Not really. Tanya, what do we recommend instead? Or what would be our recommendation?
Go to your doctor and ask him or her if you can take Ovasitol, because Ovasitol is a supplement that works just as effectively as metformin, because studies show that inositols, which is what Ovasitol is, works as effectively as metformin, except without the side effects. And It's a vitamin. It's a vitamin B8, and it mimics the same inositol ratio in your cells. And what happens is your cells should have a 40-to-1 ratio of myo and D-chiroinositol. When that's not happening, your cells are numb to insulin, and we have that insulin resistance problem I was talking about earlier. And basically, you want to supplement your body with that 40-to-1 ratio of inositols, as well as changing your diet and lifestyle. These things done together is super effective.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need some supplements to help you along the way. It's not always just about diet and lifestyle. And so Ovasitol is very effective with women who have PCOS. We've had so many testimonials.
Yeah.
In fact, we're giving away 20 Ovasitols this week. We will announce
we need to announce winners
winners
after this, actually, for yesterday.
We have a meeting at 10.
Yes. But yeah, so Ovasitol, basically, there's actually research comparing inositol supplements to metformin, and the research shows that they had the same exact results, except that metformin had 5 times the amount of side effects. Now, Ovasitol is basically an inositol supplement, but the great thing about Ovasitol that it's especially suitable for women with PCOS for a couple of reasons. One, it has a 40-to-1 ratio, which is the ratio found in the body, which is a ratio that can really help with healing the insulin resistance. Two, it has 4,000 milligram daily dosage, and that's exactly based on the research studies that are ongoing and released. So those two are really important. And three, it comes in a 3-month supply, which makes it a lot more, it makes it a lot cheaper for long-term usage, and can really, and is also NSF certified, third party checked. So
I saw a comment from someone saying, I went gluten and dairy free and I had a headache. That could be a detox effect. So I would stick to it. Make sure you're eating enough. You know, sometimes when people go gluten and dairy free, they cut out foods but don't replace them, and see what happens.
Yeah. Karishma says, hey guys, been following you for a while. You motivate me a lot and made me feel better since diagnosed with PCOS. Oh, that's amazing, Karishma. We're so happy to help. And that's exactly what we're here for, to let anybody who's been diagnosed or anybody who's in their PCOS journey, to let you know that it's possible to reverse your symptoms, to put them into remission and manage them and take back control of your body. We're here to prove that day in, day out.
Day in, day out. Let's see.
What do you recommend for a vegetarian who is trying to be dairy and gluten-free? Dairy-free really limits it for us. Good question. Great question.
Be vegetarian, but dairy limits it?
Yeah, because that's not, you're thinking vegan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it can be really difficult, yes. I do think that there are other healthy fats you can replace it with. There's hummus, there's avocado, there are almond butters, nut butters, tahini. There's some delicious healthy fats. And you, of course, can have gluten-free carbs like beans, like grains like quinoa, amaranth, buckwheat, things like this are gluten-free. And then your vegetables, and you're pretty much set.
Yeah.
It's a little bit difficult when you're vegetarian. You end up having a high-carb meal, but, there's always protein powders.
Yeah. Oh, I want to point this one out. I'm taking a 40-to-1 inositol supplement, but it's a pill and hard to swallow 4 times a day. I want to try Ovasitol since it can be mixed in water. Yes, Ovasitol is a powder you mix in water. And one more thing, sister, if anyone's taking an inositol supplement, make sure you to look at 2 things. 1, make sure it's a 40-to-1 ratio. And 2, make sure that you're getting 4,000 milligrams a day. 2,000 in the morning, 2,000 in the evening. A lot of sisters in our private Facebook group for the sisterhood, they'll send us the different inositol supplements, and we're happy to always take a look, because you don't have to take Ovasitol. And we take a look and we see that they have maybe like only 500 milligrams a day or only 1,000 milligrams a day, and they actually have to take 4 times the amount, and it ends up being so much more expensive. So it's very important to check that 4,000 milligrams a day, 2 in the morning, 2 in the evening.
Truth says, oh my God, sorry. Where do I start a PCOS friendly diet? Sometimes it seems like there's so much information to keep in mind.
Oh yeah.
I know what you're feeling, because when I went gluten and dairy free, it took me a whole year to get used to it. And then aside from that, it took me years to figure out how to do PCOS friendly diets. Like I had to meet Sirak to get it together and start lifting weights and doing the slow weighted workouts. And
Yeah.
it's just a long process sometimes. And
This is a good,
so
this is a good question to also kind of tie in with that.
yeah, we try to help you in cutting to the chase and learning how to go gluten and dairy free, learning how to do PCOS friendly workouts and losing weight with PCOS and understanding the metabolic dysfunction that's causing you to gain weight. And we are actually in amidst launching our course, the meal prep and workout course, the 4-week plan that we've created for you so that it's easy for you to follow our method. You can just close your eyes and follow what it says. We have video tutorials, so you might want to open your eyes. And we show you how to make the gluten and dairy-free meals, how to do the PCOS-friendly workouts. Every single thing has a video for it and a plan about like what to make over the weekend, what to cook during the week. And all the meals are less than 30 minutes for sure. Some of them are 1 second. You just take it out of the fridge because we're like reusing leftovers and things like that. And the workouts are super easy. You just do it in your living room and we show you exactly how. So anyways, I really wish that I had this plan when I was first diagnosed because it would have saved me years and years of trouble. And that's what we try to do. We try to be the resource for you right after your doctor says, just lose weight, take some birth control. We want you to get to find us and get some help on understanding metabolism, PCOS, how to improve your metabolic dysfunction and have a healthy body that actually loses weight naturally instead of going on crazy diets. Like actually have your metabolism move and work and burn what you're eating and have muscle mass that's insulin sensitive, making you insulin sensitive. Just have a body that is functioning properly. And you know, that's all I have to say about PCOS weight loss, okay? It's not about cutting calories or anything like that because you probably weren't overeating and like not exercising enough in the first place.
Very true. And let's talk about exercise in a little bit too, as well as hair loss. I see a very common question coming up. But is this a one-time only course will you offer in the future? So once you enroll, you have access forever, but we're not going to be offering this for a long time again. So
we have a bunch of bonuses that are only available until Sunday.
Yeah, exactly. I should have mentioned that when you buy it before this upcoming Sunday, you get all these exclusive bonuses which are not available after. So
live workouts with us, live cook-alongs with us for 4 weeks, and access to the private Facebook group during the 4-week challenge. We're choosing 20 sisters to win Ovasitol. We're giving 1 month free in the Sisterhood, which is our membership program to just accompany the 4-week plan and teach you more about PCOS. So it's great. It's a great resource until Sunday. So the link's in the bio.
So you can still enroll after Sunday, but after Sunday, those exclusive bonuses won't be available. So you can get all those bonuses with the same price if you just get it before Sunday. All right, let's talk about hair loss. Sister asked first, is hair loss reversible? So if you're experiencing facial hair or hair loss, something to really know right now, your sister, you can reverse that. You can get rid of the facial hair. You can grow back the hair on the scalp. The thing is, it can take time. So it can take 6 to 12 months. And what do we do, or what do you do in those 6 to 12 months? Well, there's a couple things. One, you want to get down to the root issue of why there's hair fall or why there's facial hair. And one of the most common reasons is insulin resistance. We talk about this all the time, but insulin resistance is common in 80% of women with PCOS. But what it causes is an increase in testosterone, so hyperandrogenism. And when you have hyperandrogenism, that's going to lead to facial hair and hair loss on the scalp. So what do we do? How can we reverse this? Well, first and foremost, you want to help heal your insulin resistance. You know, that's going to really start with diet and lifestyle, really making sure through each meal that you're measuring, you know, your blood sugar levels, and you're maintaining them from meal to meal, as well as taking a supplement like Ovasitol or an inositol supplement to help you balance your insulin resistance. Now, second thing you can do is help lower your testosterone levels. How to do that? Well, there's a couple of supplements. One, you can drink spearmint tea. Studies show drinking spearmint tea 3 times a day has been shown to lower testosterone. Of course, we want to keep it decaf. And if you want to know why decaf? We can talk about that too. And third, while you're doing all this, while you're getting down to the root issue, while you're doing the lowering the testosterone, you can do laser treatment to get rid of the hair, just to help you along the way, so that you don't feel less confident or any way about yourself as you're doing those other things. Now, just to know, it does take 6 to 12 months, so it takes patience. If you're seeing results, that's great. Keep at it, and over time, it can get better and better. Now, there's a question also about birth control. So, birth control, what do we think of birth control? Honestly, similarly to metformin, birth control can, one, mask what's actually happening. So, a lot of people will say, I want to go on birth control so I can get my periods back. And when they get their periods back, they're like, everything's all good. But that's not actually your real period. What birth control does is it puts synthetic hormones into your body to cause a fake bleed. So when you're on birth control for 10 years, let's say, your body is never getting a real period. And then when you decide to go off of birth control to have a baby, your symptoms from before are now much worse. It's called the snowball effect. So basically, birth control can put you in a worse place than when you had started, because it's masking the issue, and the issue is getting worse and worse over time. So when you get off of it, it's even more difficult to maybe get your period, to ovulate, have children and things of that nature. So that's why we don't recommend birth control as a first option. Of course, there are some people it works for, but we feel that for a majority of people, it's their diet and lifestyle, a holistic approach is better.
That's right. Sometimes, I will add this, it's sometimes almost like necessary to take something, whether it's spironolactone for your acne and hair loss, or birth control, or, well, I wouldn't say birth control, but some people birth control, because the symptoms are really hard to deal with. And sometimes you just want immediate results and immediate help with some of the intense symptoms. And I totally get that, but at the same time, you would need an exit plan. There needs to be some type of plan to improve the underlying root cause and get off of the medication when you're ready. And when you get off of it, your symptoms won't come back with a vengeance, which is the plan. So if you do decide to take any of these medications, do have an exit plan in store for you.
Yes. And there is a question about keto. Great question.
Okay.
So keto, what do we think about keto?
Keto is very restrictive.
Yeah.
And it does do a great job in lowering your blood sugar and insulin levels, which is great for PCOS. But it's kind of like a temporary fix, like a Band-Aid approach, a quick thing that doesn't really last forever, because after you're off of keto, what happens to your insulin resistance when you start eating carbs again? Sometimes, you can gain weight uncontrollably afterwards. So I do suggest, if you're going to do keto, to slowly increase your carb intake and make sure that you find a carb range that works for you.
Yeah.
But if you're not going to do keto, I have a better idea. Here's what you can do. Get a tracker for your food on your phone and start at like around 150 grams of carbs, and slowly lower them little by little from 150 to 120, and see how your symptoms feel. See if they got any better. And then if they did, don't keep lowering it, stay there. And so what happens is I eat 100 grams of carbs a day, maybe 120. What?
Sisters,
We lost him.
You know what's happening right, Shashul?
What's happening? We're making a pork butt.
It's so we're gonna put the pork butt right now in the smoker. I want to smoke it for 10 hours. It's gonna be amazing. We're making pulled pork sandwiches for tonight. Yeah, that's right. Gluten and dairy-free lifestyle, baby.
Lifestyle.
And just to let you know, pork butt isn't actually from the butt of the pig. It's actually from the shoulder. They call it a pork butt for some reasons I forget. But anyways, pork butt is actually from the shoulder. And now we're going to smoke this baby for 10 hours. Let's do it. All right, I'm so sorry to interrupt you.
We lost him. Okay, I was saying I eat around 120 grams of carbs a day. And that's what feels good for me. I feel nourished. I don't feel hungry. I don't feel cravings. It's great. And I don't need to go all the way down to 50 or less like keto. And in addition to keeping my carbs in check, I also do slow weighted workouts. So lifting weights, especially doing leg workouts, really helps improve insulin sensitivity. So it's not all about carbs. There's other things you can do that can complement your insulin sensitivity journey, right? So you lift some weights, do some squats, because the thigh muscle is the biggest muscle in your body. You have your quad, your hamstring, your butt, all these things. So when you're doing a lunge, you're really working a gigantic muscle. Sirak, are you okay? What's happening over there? Anywho. Are you done? Okay, so there's lots you can do to improve insulin sensitivity instead of just taking out all your carbs. Let's see. Any other question? Berberine is very helpful. If you're very insulin resistant, you can get your Ovasitol, pair it with berberine, really target that insulin levels. Everyone is cracking up at the commotion. Yeah. What am I dealing with here? Okay, so you don't recommend keto on PCOS. Well, for some people who are very, very insulin resistant, it might be helpful. You might feel really good. You might thrive on keto. But if you have high stress hormones, it might be very...
Everyone's laughing. Someone said men with the laughing. Isn't that the definition of men? Just smacking things around and making a very low noise. All right, lower belly fat workout. So if you're having, I think Sister's asking if you're having difficult with midsection weight, what to do, what kind of workouts to do. Did I interrupt you in the middle of something? I'm so sorry. But we have 2 minutes to our meeting.
We have 2 minutes.
Okay, I want to do a quick explanation. So if you're having trouble with midsection weight, there could be one reason. One common reason why it's difficult is cortisol. So if you're doing really intense workouts, for example, HIIT, spin classes, things of that nature, or running for hours, that could actually be holding you back. Cortisol has been shown in research studies to basically lead to weight gain, specifically in the midsection. So when that's the case, we really want to avoid doing those workouts, especially considering women with PCOS have cortisol dysregulation, meaning that you're not able to regulate cortisol levels as efficiently as someone else that doesn't have PCOS. So for that reason, you want to avoid those intense workouts. So more specifically, you want to go for weighted workouts, like slow weighted workouts. Even when you're doing ab workouts, if you're just incorporating your body weight, incorporating light dumbbells, it can do a lot, especially over a long period of time. It can be very successful in reducing the weight gain there and developing lean looking ab muscles.
A round of applause for the PCOS personal trainer
and
keeping
chef.
us right and tight.
Yes.
And the grill master.
Yes. All right.
Gluten and dairy-free grill master.
Yeah, we actually have
now
to go.
Now we have to
go. We are late to our call.
It is 10 o'clock. It's been a pleasure,
yes.
sisters. Our 4-week meal prep and workout course is the link in the bio.
Yes.
And
just a reminder, it's only available until Sunday with the exclusive bonuses. So live cook along. We
want to see you on our live cook alongs.
Live workouts.
We want to work out with you in our living room.
The challenge, the 4-week challenge where you get to
do the live workouts and cook alongs.
And speak with everyone. And not to forget, we're giving away 23 months supplies of Ovasitol. So stay tuned. We're going to do a story in about 20 minutes to announce the winners of yesterday's enrollees, and then we'll announce today's a bit later. So stay tuned.
And a free month in the sisterhood.
Oh, that too. And you get 1 month free in the sisterhood when you're enrolled. So many bonuses only until Sunday.
All right, sisters.
All right. We'll be back Friday to talk more about everything else, acne, workouts, so much more. So stay tuned until Friday.
Bye.
Love y'all.
I'm not going to post it. Should I?